Understand something. Plain and simple. To me, Abigail was a delicious poison. An intoxicating, overwhelming poison. Yowie wowie!
What's up, everybody, and welcome.
Little pig, what have you done? Want to see something really scary?
Wait, what in the heck?
What was that?
What?
That was weird.
What was that?
No idea.
That was strange.
A little bit.
Wow. Okay. Welcome to another episode of Abby's Window, and wow, I'm still kind of taken aback by that. So I don't know how. Okay.
We're just gonna go with it.
We're just gonna go with it. I'm gonna bring us on screen. Obviously, we have Jodie, we have Dom. Wait, who are you? Who are you?
Whoa!
I am your worst nightmare.
That does look really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You're okay. So you just hack into screens now and streams and
I'll go wherever I want, whenever I want.
okay. Well,
Okay.
I guess you want to break down what happened on Friday?
I will let you, the authorities of that, take care of that because I can't stay in this very long because it's too damn hot. What's up?
Oh, that was amazing. I love it. I was like, is it Joe?
I'm leaving the dreads on though, just because it looks stupid.
I
That
love
was
it.
amazing. I love
I've
it.
never had dreadlocks before, but you know
That
this
made
is
me
really
so
cool.
happy. That's like I was like, is it Joe? I don't even I knew who it was.
Yes.
It's like we had the bit beforehand. I was like, who's that? Who's that guy?
I
Hey,
have
everyone.
to just say that. Well, first of all, thank you to Jeff and Jody and Dom for letting me come on. I really appreciate that. It's nice to be. I haven't been on the show for a while, so it's really cool to be back. And I just have to say that if you're Bray fans, and I told Jody and the guys, go buy this. It literally is the coolest.
I can't get it in the UK yet. I can't get it. I've
It's not in the
tried.
UK shop.
Like it's not in the Euro shop yet. I'm super good. Otherwise, I'd have it. I'd have it in my car, like my other Fiend mask. It just hangs in my car all the time. So yeah, that looks amazing.
It's made really well, and it's got a lot of cushion and stuff inside of here, which is nice. It's heavy.
Is it comfy?
I was shocked how heavy it was. And then I have the bag. This is the bag it came in,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
and it's actually velvet. The bag is like velvet material. I was really surprised. They did a really great job with it. It was definitely worth it. And I love buying masks.
right there.
Yeah, definitely worth it. My dreads
That's
are hanging in my face, but anyway, thank you so much. I really appreciate being here, and I'm looking forward to it. So go to it, guys.
Yeah, Dom is just getting in from Portugal. How are you?
Yeah. I mean, I just got into bed. I'm very warm. I was delayed like 6 hours on the way there and also on the way back. So I'm only popping in because I'm just getting in. I've got to go wash my bits. You know, I'm very sweaty. You know, this is why I don't have any clothes on. You know, I mean, there is nothing on below this screen. I'm only keeping it up here because, you know, I don't want to get you guys a copyright strike, but I'm happy to be here. You guys mean a lot to me. I came in from Portugal. I had a cup of tea with Emma. I said, we're going to bed, but I said, I've got to check in with the Insiders guys first. It's lovely to see you all. Thank you for having me as ever. It's been a big week, and it's lovely to be back right here on the Insiders.
That's right, Dom. Thank you for joining us, Jaybird naked and all. We appreciate that. We appreciate the commitment.
Well,
and
it might. I'm going to try it out. I'm
Froze
trying
up
it
a little
out
bit.
for a bit. Oh, did I? It's because it's getting hot in here. I'm taking off all my clothes. Yeah, I'm going to trial it out. I'm going to trial it out for a bit. Maybe I'll do this every week, you know?
Oof.
Okay. And what Dom is not telling you is that he's going to announce his OnlyFans next week.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right here.
Jody, how are you this evening?
Getting there. Went to the doctor today and worked from home today. They put me on a different muscle relaxer for my back, which is actually helping a lot better than the other muscle relaxer the ER put me on. So I'm getting there.
Getting there on the mend. So glad to have everyone. And thank you to the other participant in this show, which is our chat, our wonderful chat. Thank all of you for joining us this evening. Again, good problem to have. I would go down and list everyone by name, but that will take us another 15 minutes. So I'm just going to give the blanket welcome, all of you. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And we want you to interact with us. So once we get to everything that happened on Friday, please interact. Let us know what you think. Let us know your theories, your thoughts, and yeah, let's get going. I know that we're gonna start in Caleb's corner. So Jody, take it away.
Awesome. So Caleb has new merch out. Finally, that t-shirt that we've been talking about for months. It is finally up on his website, calebjohnsonofficial.com. Make sure you go grab one of those because it's awesome. Also, the old t-shirts that he has up there are on sale for $10 right now. So you can grab one of the motorcycle ones or the Caleb Johnson and the Ramblin' Saints ones. I have both of those. Probably will be getting this one as well, obviously. But interesting thing as well, Caleb has started doing videos, kind of like Cameo, but he's doing it on his own website.
OnlyFans? Is it OnlyFans?
No. It says on his page that it's a birthday greeting, but when you click on it to actually add it to your cart and do a personalized thing, it doesn't have to be a birthday greeting.
He can give me a birthday greeting.
So, I had to go and do one of those and actually put in like little comments that you can write. It's just like Cameo, that it's not my birthday or any kind of special occasion. I just like to hear his voice. So, yes, I had to snag one of those, but it doesn't have to be a birthday greeting. So it can be a Merry Christmas to somebody or, a just because, the anniversary, whatever. And also in that same section of his website, it's called like Book Me, and that's where the birthday greeting is. But there's also something else on there that says acoustic Zoom performance. And it says it's sold out. So I'm going to ask, in the event that Caleb happens to watch this episode today, let's make it not sold out, because I have a pretty awesome idea for a very, very, very special episode of Abby's Window. Let's get an acoustic performance on Abby's Window.
That's nice. Yeah, that's a good
He's
idea.
still on tour with TSO, so make sure you go check them out too. Only going to be on tour until the end of the year. So today's the 19th. So he actually is not performing tonight. His next show is the 21st in Hershey, PA. He did. Apparently, they were decorating Christmas cookies last night. That was what he was putting on his Instagram stories, all these different decorations of cookie. And I'm pretty sure it was one that he did, but it looked like an alien. And I was sitting there going, yeah, yep, that's Caleb.
So can I have you booked him for anything special? have you booked him for any private events that you
No.
might be holding? No?
No.
Your own.
I did do the video thing, and that's why I said
Yeah.
we should, he should make that acoustic performance not sold out because, us on Abby, since we do Caleb's Corner every week, would love an acoustic performance.
Acoustic
Very
performance. No,
special episode of Abby's Window.
That'd be something.
that would be something. And I can tell you who wouldn't be singing. Wouldn't be me. Just saying.
He's one of those performers though, like you can't help but sing along. Like if you know the song and he's singing it, you can't help it.
Yeah, I'd probably be that person that would be singing along. I'd mute myself though. That's what I would do.
Mm-hmm. So I did post that on Twitter. So everybody needs to like retweet it and tag him in it so that we can get a private acoustic show on Abby's Window.
That's awesome. That would be cool.
Yep.
That would be very cool. So thank you to everyone that's joined us. And that was Caleb's Corner, brought to you by Jodie.
Love it every time. There's some special stuff going on below this screen right now.
Hey.
Emma will tell you. Emma's enjoying it.
Hey.
Hey,
Yeah.
yo.
Well, there's no perfect way to segue from that. So we're just going to, no, there is. There is a perfect way to segue from that. But that would take this show to an age-restricted area. So I'm just going to say that we got a video before SmackDown of LA Knight being tied up. I told you I could take it there, but I'm not going to. He got tied up, and
He did get tied up.
He did, and yeah, this was interesting. We got this before SmackDown. We saw Uncle Howdy talking to him, and he had this mask on, and then we see him at the end, and he's got his mouth taped up. So before we get into what happened on SmackDown, what do you all think about what happened here? And I will start with Dom.
Some kinky stuff, innit? He was touching his face, tying him up, slapping him around a little bit. I don't know. I didn't know LA Knight was into that, but now I do. Each to their own. I just want to say we're an inclusive podcast. Whatever you're into, it's cool with us. No judgment. But yeah, it was interesting, wasn't it? I thought it was cool because they obviously still making use of social media, TikTok and stuff. I'd like to see some more White Rabbit QR codes used, but it was a great intro into SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously into what we ended up seeing. But yeah, really cool bit of WWE using TikTok, using other forms of media to promote the actual show. I thought it was really well done. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Joe, what did you think? I know we talked a little bit about it on Friday, but what did you think?
I got Dark Knight vibes as soon as I started to see it because of the scene with him with
That's
the Joker
good, yeah.
And the guy that was in the chair that was dressed as Batman. And when you saw the glove in his face and then kind of going to him, shh, that's what it came off to me right away as. But it was really, really cool. Like you did something. It was neat because they put in something we didn't expect. It was something from TikTok where we haven't seen that on that channel in a little while. That White Rabbit channel on TikTok is still out there. Haven't really used it in a bit, and then all of a sudden we got that prior to the show. So I think it was a great way to lead in to what they ended up doing on SmackDown. But it was really cool, and I love again, and I know I heard Dom talk about this on the show. I had mentioned this before a lot. So many Mr. Robot vibes, and even with the white gloves that he wears now, and the top hat, and it's very, very much you get just a lot of that for me. And I really one of my favorite TV shows of all time, and so a lot of stuff that I think Bray's pulling from these promos, and it's really cool.
The Mr. Robot stuff, man. Like, we'll have to have a conversation about this, another time. But like, I'm really getting into it, and there is a lot of parallels. Like immediately, and you mentioned the Joker thing there. That's also really interesting. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that until you just mentioned it.
Yep.
Really, really, really kind of sadistic, a little bit dark, obviously a little bit kinky. You know, it's obviously turning some heads. You know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Negan Mox, thank you for the donation, saying, reminded me of the way a cult leader would brainwash someone. I think that's an interesting point.
Very.
Jody, what did you
Yeah.
think of this?
I love too that they're using other platforms and social media to really get out there to people. I think it's something that WWE's kind of been missing, is things like that to really everybody is connected nowadays. You can't avoid it. So yeah, I think that it's great that they're using different platforms and different outlets to kind of spread this story around. It's I got the Dark Knight vibes too, definitely. Someone said earlier in the chat it kind of reminded them of Black Phone, which kind of I could see that. Definitely see those vibes too. It's definitely going somewhere, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and some of the imagery we got during that, and the little pig,
Mm-hmm.
all of that with the wolf in the background, like Negan
Mhm.
Mox mentioned there.
Well, that's kind of something that Bray's been doing all along too, like appealing to the kids. The Funhouse was like a kids show, and the kids with the sheep masks when he was having that feud with Cena and all of that stuff. So like he's always brought children into it, and that's something special too that nobody else really does. That he can
Yeah,
just bring kids into it.
very true, very true. So, and we've got to talk about this before we get to what was said and what happened next. But LA Knight ended up coming down to the ring during SmackDown. Now, my question is, how in the world did he get away? Joe, I will start with Joe. How do you think he got away?
That's a very good question,
Yeah.
isn't it? You know, I think when Jeff and I spoke about it, it made me think like, again, you really have to look at this almost like a deeper thing. Like, did that really happen?
Hmm.
I mean, the only thing you think, yes, I guess it did, is because when LA Knight went in and delivered his promo, he was saying that he had beat him down and then he tied him up. So there was a reference to that from him, that he was tied up. But I almost kind of thought of it that way. He came down and it was like nothing happened. So again, we see this video, but is this something that actually happened to LA Knight? And if so, how did he get away? The only thing I could think of is, I mean, he could have knocked him out back there and then maybe just let him go, where he just untied him and then, left that room. Howdy left. And then LA Knight just found himself there and just got out of there. That would be the only thing I could really think of logically to explain it. If it did indeed actually happen. But with all of this, there's so many questions about what are we seeing? Is this stuff meant to be looked at as reality, or is this meant to be looked at? We're seeing things that are in his mind. That's what I don't know. And
Interesting.
it's a tough thing to answer, because like Jody always says, and you guys always talk about that on here, he goes very deeply into stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be very easy to explain all of this off in wrestling and say, okay, yeah, this is it's silly because how would he get out of there? And then, later on, and we'll get to that. I'm sure Jeff will get to that part later on, but how would you explain, well, okay, there's another guy standing in for him and it's somebody else, but then you have to ask the question, well, is it? And that's what is really cool about the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, to that point, Thug Logic says, what if Uncle Howdy is the Wyatt Six and he will be the physical manifestations of Bray's personalities / personas?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Jody,
interesting that.
yeah, Joe, I'll go to Jody and then Dom. I want you to bring home on this one. Jody, what do you make of how he got away?
I think you let him go.
You think you let him go?
I think there's more to be done. I think this was a way to get LA Knight to see what he sees and see things through his eyes, which kind of goes back to that 13 ghost theory that we talked about on Friday, that you have to have the right vision. And I think he was giving LA Knight the right vision, and he let him go.
Yeah.
Dom.
That's an interesting one. See, I want to believe that, Jodie, and I'm here to play devil's advocate. I'm like, if they don't address that somewhere down the line, that's a major plot hole. How did he get away? You know what I mean? They have to address it. Otherwise, in this great film that we're talking about, that we're going to see pay off, in the next few weeks and months, that is the first major plot hole. Did Uncle Howdy let him go? And if they let him go, why did he let him go out to the ring and do a promo, and do an amazing promo, by the way?
Yeah.
LA Knight is coming out here smelling like roses. Like, LA Knight is the best thing, second to me, to Sami Zayn on SmackDown right now. I love LA Knight's promo work. But going back to the Bray stuff, this has to be explained. I let him go because somewhere down the line, or some sort of psychological warfare. But why would he let him go?
What if he was using him as a tool? Like,
he's losing his as a sex tool. I'll tie you up.
No, I mean, like, Uncle Howdy couldn't manifest physically until he got LA Knight to see what he sees.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm as ever, I come on here, I get some theories, blows my mind a little bit, I'm okay. I want to believe that. I'm going to try and believe what you're thinking. I'm believing what you're selling, Jodie. Let's see this play out. Maybe you let him go to reveal some psychologicalness, but like, they've got to do something because Uncle Howdy's this creepy, this creepy kind of demonic or psychological, villain type, and he just like lets him pop to the ring, fully dressed with his muscles out and his tank top on and his tight jeans to do the yeah, which I love, by the way. He just lets him go to do that. And he's obviously in a chipper mood. Well, he's not in a chipper mood. He's obviously annoyed. But he's out there doing a cracking promo. I would want to see, if he'd just been let go from some kind of Uncle Howdy BDSM dungeon, I'd want to see him selling it a bit. I want to see him limping out there. I want to see him, heavy breathing a bit. You know what I mean? I appreciated the years as a tribute to Luke Harper, Brody Lee.
I love that.
I appreciated it, but equally, should he not have sold that? And if he isn't selling it, what's going on? And that is where Jodie's theory comes in, and that's where I'm choosing to. If he's not selling it, then there's something deeper going on. Mm-hmm. And Bray let him go, stroked him a little bit, touched his face a little bit, and let him off to go and have a little promo and kick off. But what I'm annoyed at, or what I'm kind of weirded out by, is why is he not selling it? Because clearly he was distressed under the mask. Clearly he was tied up, and unless
he doesn't remember. He doesn't remember, kind of like he remembers it happening, but doesn't remember everything. Kind of like we talked about Bray being that way. Sometimes he doesn't remember exactly what happened.
Sometimes that kind of stuff, even in like a horror movie. And I remember even in Split at the beginning, when they knock people out, they use that chloroform stuff on their face and they're gone. When they come back to, it's much, much later. And they don't really even realize they could be, it's something like where stuff could be going on and they could be talking. They might not even remember they did. So it could be something like that. And then as far as how he got out of there, Howdy obviously engineered that, but maybe it wasn't Howdy who let him out. And maybe
Yeah,
it was
maybe not.
another
Maybe
maybe
not.
it was another persona of Bray's that let him out, because again, like Jodie was saying, going back to the stuff we talked about before, going back to Split, when obviously the other personalities, the sadistic ones, didn't communicate with the nicer ones. So the nicer one would come in and do something completely, and the other ones wouldn't know he did it.
And that's what we've seen from Bray in the ring. We've got that nice person in the ring, and then we've got backstage Bray that's, kind of angry and kind of a dick. So
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And I know someone earlier mentioned maybe Uncle Harper let him go. Negan Mock saying he put the Howdy mask on LA Knight. Interesting. Thank you again for the donation. I think this is an interesting point, and Dom, you kind of alluded to it, so I'll start with you this time. Just briefly, I'm going to read the comment and then briefly give me your thoughts on it. But Erase Your Mind saying, some are saying LA Knight is currently outshining Bray, but that may be a good thing because many have said much of the Fiend's opponents did not come up smelling like roses after their story ended. So I guess my question to all of you, will start with Dom, go to Joe, and then end with Jodie. Do you think that's the case, and do you think that's good for this particular story?
Absolutely, absolutely, I do. I'm sorry if you can hear some weird noises. That's my dog is very keen to get on the podcast. He's very, very keen to get on the podcast. He very much wants to be involved in the Uncle Howdy debate. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, do you want to, Lou? Are you coming on the podcast? He's coming on. No, he's not. He's shy. He's there. Let's see if I can get him in so you guys can see him. There he is.
There he is.
See him? There
he is.
Emma, say hi to Emma. There we go. Oh, there's my nipple. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I meant to keep them. Yeah. Sorry. Hang on. There we are. Right. Back to the professional stuff. Okay. So absolutely, LA Knight is outshining Bray at the moment, and I'm sorry that's going to annoy some people. I think he is completely. But yeah, you're right. Maybe they're doing that intentionally because you guys are absolutely right. The Fiend was never outshone by anybody. He never had the opportunity to, because he was this dominant monster, and so maybe that's by design. And I hadn't really thought about that. Again, you guys blow my mind. I love this chat. I love the comments because you guys make me think of other stuff. Maybe it's by design, but I would 100% say that LA Knight is elevating himself. He is an upper mid-level talent that is benefiting from this rivalry with Bray. At the moment, looks absolutely amazing, and he shouldn't if he's going to be going toe-to-toe backstage with Uncle Howdy, but regardless, he is. And I think it's great for LA Knight, but not so great for. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day. Bray Wyatt's supposed to be the face. Bray Wyatt's supposed to be the good guy in this, and he's the one tying up and beating up LA Knight, and LA Knight's coming out there, and everybody's going yeah, and everyone's loving it, and where's Bray is supposed to be the good guy, and we're not cheering. Like, the fans aren't cheering for. I think, well, fans are obviously still buzzing off the Bray return. People still love Bray, but LA Knight is getting over here. LA Knight is getting over Bray, and I'm interested to see what the chat says and what you guys think about that. But 100%, LA Knight is outshining Bray in this feud.
Joe?
I think it's intentional. Yeah, I think it's intentional. Kind of like the Fiend always changed people. When you encounter the Fiend, you're a different person. What if it's the same kind of thing, just in reverse?
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. So they get strength from the encounter. They get the rub. They get the in more ways than one from Uncle Howdy. Emma, wait. That wasn't even me being inappropriate. Emma's looking at me funny. I wasn't being. They get the rub. They get the rub from Bray. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with a bit of rub from Bray. I'm just saying. I mean, Jodie knows exactly what I'm talking about. But I think what. Yeah. If this makes LA Knight look amazing, and it does, and it will continue to, then everybody wins. My concern is that they made Bray the number one babyface, the number one good guy on SmackDown, and he doesn't look like that at all. That is my one issue with this. And also, we haven't seen anything physical for a while from Bray, except for we are going to see that. I don't know if you guys are going to talk later on about the episode that's been pre-taped. Obviously, we do see some physical stuff.
Yeah, we won't talk about it.
Okay, all right.
I don't want to spoil that for anyone that didn't get to see it or waiting for SmackDown for it.
Fair enough. We'll touch on that next week. But waiting for stuff physical stuff to happen, wrestling, anything like that. I still think that needs to happen sooner rather than later. And I still think that LA Knight, and I've said this for weeks, LA Knight he looks the best in this feud.
Yeah, I agree. He looks great in this feud. I just think Bray's always been one of those characters that's always been a tweener. Like, he never really was a face or a heel. He was just Bray. And I think that's why he gets over with the fans so well, is that he's just Bray. There's no evil, good, he's just Bray.
Yeah. Joe?
Yeah.
So what is a good face supposed to do? Put the heel over, right? They're supposed to make, you want to take who do you look at as being one of the best heels in the business today, right? Take MJF.
Mm-hmm.
MJF, the face, obviously, was, who did he just wrestle in AEW? I'm sorry. I'm losing
Ricky Starks.
Ricky Starks, thank you. So Ricky Starks, of course, as the face, got built up by MJF as the up and coming face. Now, LA Knight, obviously, character change. He goes from that lousy character he was playing back to LA Knight. And then now he gets.
I can't even remember it. It's so forgettable.
That character that he played with the models, the maximum male models thing. Oh.
Max Dupree. That was it.
Yeah, Max Dupree was horrible. And so he's coming from that back to LA Knight, and they're trying to establish him as a bigger heel on the show. So what better way to do that? Basically, then he comes down to the ring and he's looking like he's picking on the good Bray. So technically, that's the face Bray that's out there. He's the guy who came down. We weren't really sure. We didn't know at first whether he was coming down and it was the backstage Bray. It's hard to tell. But when he came down, he obviously was the one, because one of the things you hear out of him all the time, so you know it's him, is the word apologize. He always talks about apologizing and saying, I'm sorry, and all this other stuff. And now I'm going to give you another chance. I'm going to give you another chance. And he did that again. And what does Knight do? But he beats him down. So that is a complete heel move. A face coming down and saying, and trying to get somebody to talk to them. And then all of a sudden he comes out and just puts the boots to him and stomps him down in a corner.
And picks up the fans in the process.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I think, to me, it's building up LA Knight. And it's also building Bray as a sympathy figure, because when you see him beating Bray down, and then, Jeff will hit on this later, but when he's down in that corner and Howdy comes out, he just looks completely, of course, he's laughing at first, but then at the end of it right there, at the end, he looks completely confused. He's looking back and forth. So what my guess is, he's cycling through all of these different personalities. And that's why I think that, sure, there's going to be a mean one. Now, the mean one manifests itself in Howdy, or is there other ones that we saw? The backstage one is sadistic. So there are bad personalities, but what he's doing, I guess, is he's playing, they want to build him as a face, but he can play really both parts.
He's got a dark side.
Yeah. I mean, he can play both parts.
Yeah. That diversity is there. And that's something we should all, be, excited about, because that diversity that Bray champions, nobody else does that better, can play different characters as one performer, So I think there's a lot of stuff to be excited about. But yeah, I mean, I was, like going back to what we were saying, like I say, this looks great for LA Knight, and we're all expecting more from Bray Wyatt, I think, in the coming weeks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like that picture. The one
that's
you had up of Bray.
of Bray. Yeah,
The atmosphere and the camera work during that entire segment with all the fog, and
Yep.
it was just brilliant.
It was nice. It was lovely.
It really
It was
set
lovely.
a mood. And yeah,
It
that
did.
whole, like, with the smoke and how they were lighting it, and it was just, I mean, that whole
Yeah.
moment sucked you in.
Mhm.
It did.
You
It
felt
did.
it. It was
Yeah, it
great.
was-
I thought it was a great in-ring segment.
The
was
fog
yeah.
and stuff almost makes it look like you're in a mindscape of someone.
Mhm.
It almost makes it look like it's not real. Do you know what I mean? Like you
Like
see
you're
that
in a fantasy world.
right? Like it's
Mhm.
not. That's what makes me. Yeah. Well, I'm not even going to go because Jeff will get to that.
Talking about setting a mood, guys. I'm gonna go set the mood in the shower because
Alrighty then.
I need to go and get washed and
Wash your bit.
wash my bits up. So I'm gonna duck out gracefully or ungracefully. A little bit of a nip slip there for you guys before I go. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Obviously, I'm gonna carry on watching as well. I'll probably watch you guys in the shower. So keep the chat coming. Thank you guys for allowing me to come and join you guys tonight. Are we on next week? It's Boxing Day. What are we doing next week? Are we doing it next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
All right. As far as I'm concerned, I'll be here next week. So Joe, mate, love to see you here.
See you, Dom.
I love it. It's great. It's awesome.
Nice seeing you.
Yeah, right. Okay, guys. I'm gonna go get clean. I'll see you soon.
See you, Dom.
Bye.
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 Dom is he's a one of a kind.
He's a character. He's a character.
He's a good dude. So we've already kind of talked about the fact that LA Knight came down. He cut a promo. He talked about he knows who's doing this. He talked about being tied up. Bray comes down and says, "Look, I'm going to give you one more chance. I'm going to give you a chance to apologize." And and LA Knight wasn't having it, and stomped Bray down in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we get this shot. Bray's in the corner. I love this shot, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Bray's in the corner. LA Knight is looking at the screen, and Uncle Howdy appears, and he does the whole little pig thing again, and then he says, "Do you want to see something
Really scary.
really scary? Do you want to see something really scary?" And I think to the shock of so many of us, I mean, I look at this picture, then I look at this picture, and I think his face says it all. We actually got Uncle Howdy from the back out in front of the crowd, or did we, as Joe has been posing that question. So I've got to ask, and I'm going to start with Jodie on this one. What did you make of this entire sequence of not only having a physical interaction between LA Knight and Bray not fighting back at all, and at some points laughing, but then to go from that to seeing Uncle Howdy like out there? What did you make of that?
It was very fiendish. That especially with the laughing and not fighting back. Yeah, definitely very fiendish. But kind of like I said on Friday, the more I think about this segment, the more 13 Ghosts comes to mind, and how you have to have the right vision to see what other people are, to see what's there under the surface and invisible. And I think that's what's going on here. I think with LA Knight being kidnapped and having the mask on, I think the mask gives him the vision that Bray has. And I think that's why Bray looked confused, because he was going, are you seeing this too?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just me? Like, are you seeing this? And he was kind of shocked, kind of taken aback. Like, I thought I was the only one that could see him. But now LA Knight's got the right vision, and can see things. I still think this is a personality of Bray. I don't know if, Uncle Howdy's going to be an in-ring personality and actually fight. We'll have to wait and see, but I still think that Uncle Howdy is a persona of Bray, and you have to have the right vision to see him.
That's it. That's interesting. That's an interesting point. Joe, what did you make of all of that? I know we were on the watch along and we kind of got to react to it then, but since you've had a little time to think about it, what were your thoughts?
I pretty much agree. So with what Jodie said, so the things that I found interesting was, first off, the reactions and stuff like that of LA Knight. So you saw you saw the door, and there was no door. It was just kind of a beige, like a brown smoke area where he came from. And then you got to wonder, are these all doors of Bray's mind? Are they different doors that different people come out of? And then Howdy steps out, and we got the little tip of the cap, which I love, like a pleased to meet you from a gentleman that wears a top hat and gloves, and and then he just kind of stood there. But here's the thing. So many people were thinking it's another wrestler. It's another wrestler. Well, a couple of things to that. Number one, there is no way this guy wrestles in that mask. No way. That mask is not generated for wrestling. Now, I know they made different theme masks and stuff like that. People will say, but look at that mask with the rubber. Heavy mask with the rubber nose, the big mustache and stuff like that that's stuck there. I mean, that mask would not do well in a wrestling match. So right there, to me, tells me that no, this guy is not going to wrestle. Is there someone else portraying him? Sure, because he has to be in two different places at the same time.
Yeah.
LA Knight got scared, ran out of the ring because he is seeing something there. But like Jodie said, did that TikTok video thing lead up to him seeing what he's seeing there? And are we, as an audience, just seeing manifestations of Bray's personalities? This is what we get when we see something, when you watch a film like Split or anything like with anybody with multiple personalities. You're going to see, when we saw Split, we saw all of the personas and we saw the Beast, right? So that is us seeing their other personalities. And that's what I think that this is. Now, Tazzy mentioned the lights out match, supposedly, that we're going to get. And that's perfect for this, because if they do that, where he's going to start wrestling Bray, but then along the way, lights out, boom, he turns around, there's Howdy. He turns around and there's someone else. That's how they can do that.
Yeah.
And will they attack him? Maybe, but see, that's to me why I don't believe right away. And I know everybody went crazy. Oh my God, it's Mo Dallas. Oh my God, it's Dutch. Oh my God. And it could be any of those guys. But then
think about this too. If the mask gives them the vision, who was the first person we saw wearing that mask? It was Bray.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's definitely Bray's voice. There's no doubt. When you listen to that TikTok video and the promos, there's no doubt that's his voice.
Right.
And that's kind of what I think. And I don't know. I could be completely wrong. We could all be completely wrong. We're theorizing, but that I like to think that Bray goes very deep into this stuff and not just on the surface where, all right, let's bring out this whole new wrestling character. And the other thing is if it was a real person, why wouldn't they come down and help him and go after LA Knight? Why wouldn't he have run down to the ring, come in and go after LA Knight? And the other thing is, and I brought this up to Jeff too, which I thought was interesting. When he says, little pig, what have you done? Is he talking to LA Knight? Or is he talking to Bray Wyatt? Did Bray Wyatt do something that he wasn't supposed to do when he came down to the ring and he's apologizing again? Could that be what he was talking to? I just love all this stuff because it could be very much deeper than what a lot of people are thinking it is. I told Jeff, all the dirt sheets after our watch along were saying, we got to reveal it's Howdy and Bray are two separate people. Howdy and Bray are, and I'm sure that's what he wants everybody to think. But I'm not.
Jodie, your thoughts?
Yeah. I love, the deepness that this is going to. It's just great. And I think that we're going to get more and continue to get more. And everybody's into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's possible that another wrestler plays Uncle Howdy at some point. Gabby, please get lost with that crap. There you go. You're not back anymore. Yeah, I still think that it's a persona of Bray. I think the mask was something that gives you the vision. I just keep going back to 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
And that's what I keep going back to is, having to have the glasses, and I think it's just great. I'm looking forward to it.
Joe, have you seen 13 Ghosts before?
I never have that. Every time I hear you guys talking about it, I'm gonna have to watch it. I stayed away from it because I wasn't sure if it was one of those ones that I put on my no list. With the demonic possession stuff and everything. Yeah.
It very well could be.
Okay. Are there contorting women and people in it?
Yeah, a little bit of it.
Okay.
I think it's doable for you.
I'll have to hide my eyes. But I'll have to check it out. It seems like obviously, like from hearing you guys talk about it, it seems like it's something that he's definitely pulling references from.
I mean, there are definitely inspiration from it. And I know Jodie has talked about this a few times. And I'm apologize to Brandon Wayne Lewis. I was trying to block somebody else and blocked you instead. So I'm sorry.
I just texted you about that.
I'm trying to bring you back. So I'm looking for you too. But and thank you, Negan Mock, saying I wonder if we'll see a more twisted Miss Bliss tonight. That is possible. I think that is very possible. So I mean, kind of going a little bit further on this kind of dream atmosphere kind of thing, because I do feel like they kind of set that mood there, and I think it was very intentional that they did that. I mean, do you think?
Thank you, James.
Okay, thank you, James. I mean, what do you think we get from this? Like, what do you think is next for Howdy, and what do we think is next for Bray? And I'll start with Jodie this time.
I think he's kind of taken inspiration. Look, we know Bray's a horror fan, and I think he may just take inspiration from different things. And you think about movies like Seven and 13 Ghosts and Saw, where he puts people in these impossible situations where you either have to face a fear, face a sin, come to terms with something that you did wrong. And I think that's the road that this is going to go down, that everybody's going to, Black Phone too. You're going to have to like channel that inner strength and defeat the evil in your head or overcome some sin. I mean, there were 7 deadly sins and 7 there were 7 good sides to that. And the movie Seven really digs into that really, really deep, and that's a good movie to watch too. But I think we're going to keep going down that road of that classic good versus evil story. And I think it's going to spill over to every show. I think we may get something from Alexa. She's going to be the one that kind of hones in on that on Raw. And I think eventually it'll trickle into NXT as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Joe?
still think the Fiend, I think the Fiend is coming back. Maybe not permanently, but I do think the Fiend is going to come back. And I still think that he's after Alexa, not going to work with her. I think he's going to go after her.
And people are asking in the chat when do you think she'll be able to hit the Sister Abigail, or do you think she'll be able to hit it at all?
I wonder if she can't hit it until the Fiend actually comes back.
That's a good question to ponder. Yeah.
2001 Brandon 13 Ghosts. I didn't know there was another one.
2001. Yep. Joe, your thoughts, my friend.
Oh man. The question about Alexa is I agree with Jodie. I think he's going to cost her a match. And I think she's going to lose to Bianca Belair because of it. I don't think it's going to be him. I think Howdy will show up. I think Howdy will make an appearance on the stage just like he did with Bray. And I think it's going to cost him it's going to cost her rather the match. Howdy is the instigator. Howdy is the one. So again, I go back to Split, right? The Beast would be the equivalent of the Fiend. That's the superpowered being that all of them try to bring out, right? And in Split, the Beast only showed up very, very rarely. He didn't come out very often, right? So if they're going like that, then you would think we will not get that unless something very, very bad happens, right? Now, Howdy wants him to come out, and so did the other personalities of Split wanted the Beast to come out as well. There were some who did, but there were a lot of them that didn't. And Howdy is the one who wants that to come out. So, and Howdy is going to be the one who has the animosity for Alexa. Alexa wronged him. A lot of people might forget that. And I often wonder, people are saying, oh, I want them to team up again. But, then I stop to wonder, well, she betrayed him. Why would you want them teaming up again when she was the one who kind of led to him being gone? If you think about it, if you want to put it in that perspective, she led to him being gone. So Howdy is going to express that animosity toward her. And I don't think it's going to go well for her. I really don't. She may try to turn dark. Now, and as far as what's going to happen with Bray, I think we should see an advancement now a little bit. And maybe you might remember the key to that here for me is the door is closing. Okay. The doors, if they represent personalities, is the door closing on one of Bray's personalities? Maybe
the backstage personality.
Could be.
I love that theory that Nicole put in there too. Thank you for the information.
So Big Dan said, what if Uncle Howdy is the true higher power behind Schism, going off of Jodie's NXT trickle down theory? And then Nicole here, thank you for the donation, saying, I believe when Bliss and Bianca fight at the Rumble and she sets up the Sister Abigail, that's when he will appear, just like WrestleMania. Revenge is a confession.
Yeah.
That would be very poetic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Causing her to lose.
She cost him a WrestleMania match against Randy. What if he costs her the Royal Rumble match against Bianca?
That's perfect. Life is a circle.
Yep.
Yep.
Lots of very interesting.
So here's a question to ponder. Is the Fiend stronger than Uncle Howdy, and Uncle Howdy doesn't know it? Who's the strongest presence here? Who's the puppet master?
I'd liken it to an so like almost like you have someone bringing out a demon, right?
Mhm.
So he's kind of, Howdy's almost kind of like an exorcist in that way, where he's trying to excise or bring out a demon back into play. So obviously, but now the thing is Howdy afraid of him? That's a good question.
But if he was afraid
Because
of him, why would he be
why
pushing
would he
for him
want
to come back?
right. So you would think that, I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. And we may never know that, because again, I don't know that we'll see Howdy ever wrestle. So we don't know whether Howdy is going to be, I don't know. That's a great question though. A lot of people in the chat are even saying the Fiend is stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because something is going to have to defeat Howdy at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Just who is it going to be?
Yeah, that's a great point. Does he bring back Cult Leader? Does he bring back one of his other personalities to fight him? And does he go? I told you from the start, I mentioned this to Jeff on our Sunday show. Bully Ray, talking about this whole thing on Busted Open, was saying he would love to see him fight his other personalities, which would be amazing. And because in order to beat them back, or to get himself back, he has to fight them and get rid of them. So that's I mean, could you imagine if I'm wrong and Howdy can wrestle in that mask, or they make him a mask he could wrestle in? How cool would it be to see the Fiend fight Howdy?
What if you think about it this way? Think about his new song, Shatter. What if these personalities need to come together to defeat Howdy? What if he needs more of these personalities? They've all been shattered to pieces. Now he's got to bring them all back together.
Yep.
Like, again, going back to 13 Ghosts, it took all of the ghosts to kill what's his face? Now I don't remember his name.
I don't either.
Cyrus.
There you go.
It took all of them to get what they needed to get done. So what if Bray needs all of these personalities to defeat Uncle Howdy?
Well, here's another question about defeating Uncle Howdy. What if Uncle Harper is the key to unlocking that and being able to defeat him?
He said Wyndham was the key. I always go back to that. So
what if Uncle Harper is the one that brings us Wyndham?
Ooh, I like that. Thank you, Odin's son. Takes all the ghosts to kill Uncle Cyrus.
Uncle Cyrus. Yep.
Oh, there was an uncle in that too. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Joe, you got to watch it, man.
There's so many similarities, like that picture of the machine that Bray drew and posted. Like, if you look at the machine from 13 Ghosts, and it was, built by the devil and powered by the dead. Is that the line from the movie?
I believe so.
The person who created this machine was under demonic possession when he drew the plans for it. So there's a lot of similarities between the picture that Bray did and posted and that machine from 13 Ghosts.
A lot. A lot, Joe. Yeah. This is it just continues to get.
And think about that movie too. What's his face had the vision. There was one person who had the ability to feel everything,
and that was Matthew Lillard's character. He could feel everything he could see everything by touch. What if
everything?
What if that's where we're taking LA Knight? If he's the one that can see everything by touch.
Unless it's Bray. Bray could be the one that sees everything.
And maybe that's why he's not fighting back.
Yeah, he sees the big picture. But yeah, there's so many parallels to that movie. It's unreal. Now I'm gonna have to go watch it again.
I'm gonna have to watch it. Period. Yeah.
It's so good.
It is. It
Oh,
really,
and son, yeah, we were that's what I was saying, that I think the mask are the special glasses. That's what I
Yeah.
think the original mask is.
Yeah. And guess what, folks? We're going a little overtime. So, well, Abby's OT.
That's a usual thing now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I don't think they mind.
They don't mind.
Nah.
They don't mind. They don't mind. Joe, I mean, man, what do you think? I mean, big picture, what do you think about Uncle Harper coming in and kind of being the one that can unlock Wyndham, and that's how we see Uncle Howdy defeat? I mean, like, what do you think about that kind of that path as a story?
It would make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Harper would probably be the ultimate heel, or I'm sorry, ultimate face to Howdy's heel. So it's the other end of the spectrum. I would imagine we'd get possibly a different mask for him, which might look very similar to the green mask that Bray wears, but it might have a different expression, similar to Black Phone.
Yeah.
You might see, instead of the gritted teeth and the mustache, it might be a different expression on the face that maybe looks a little more jovial, or not happy, but not as mean. And my guess would be that gets revealed at the LA Night match. That would be my guess, because if they're going to further the story, and then that's going to probably take place at the Rumble, and then if they go further, and then they're going to go into WrestleMania, which they're already talking plans with Code Orange playing him into WrestleMania this time, because so that's already out there. If that's going to happen, then you would think that Harper would then wrestle Howdy at WrestleMania, and the two of them would go at it. And of course, one of them would be Bray. One of them obviously wouldn't. But almost like when we got Undertaker versus Undertaker, that's when you would probably get it, would be at WrestleMania. And what kind of a match would it be? I don't know. We obviously know. I mean, if it's anything like this mask that I bought, that mask is freaking heavy, so he ain't wrestling in that mask. Bray wouldn't have to, obviously, but the Uncle Harper thing they'd have to figure out. But that's where I think that it would go. And yeah, I would think that when we read that they copyrighted Uncle Harper and Uncle Howdy, we didn't know so much what Howdy was, but right away we guessed that Harper would be a good one, because of him being so close to Bray and such good friends with Bray. So it's like the angel and the devil on your shoulder.
Yep.
And that's what I think. That's how I could see it going.
Yeah. I know we've got a lot of people talking about the connection to Miss Bliss, and some interesting points. And I wanted to ask this, and we'll start with Jodie this time, because I think conventional thought is that she betrayed him. What if she didn't betray him? What if she just obeyed? What if they tie it in and say that she obeyed Howdy? What if Howdy goes back to that point?
It's very possible. I mean, we never really got closure on what happened at WrestleMania. All we know is that for some reason she cost him the match. So maybe it's, I don't know, maybe the Fiend is the one that would want revenge on Alexa, but but see that I don't know if that makes sense, because if you say that Howdy, she was obeying Howdy wants the Fiend back. So the only reason I could see that happening is if Howdy didn't know that her costing him the match was going to put him back in the box, like Deanna said.
Or could they go in a direction? Now this is kind of far out there, but could they go in a direction where they give Alexa several personalities as well? She already has some anyway.
Mhm.
So could Alexa have been the White Rabbit? And could Alexa then end up being that? We saw that mask that Jason Baker made for her at WrestleMania with that queen and the black that ran down her face. Could that be her Howdy? Could that be that the part, we know Alexa turned, but the Alexa that was in the ring with Lily was playful. She was evil, but she was playful. So it's a different, it's almost kind of like, if you liken it to Bray, it's almost like backstage sadistic Bray, where she was sadistic in her own kind of a playful way. But then that queen, whatever the hell she was, queen demon, whatever she was at Mania.
Which, something, that adds to the Alice in Wonderland thing too.
Yep. That could be something different completely. So yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they would, if Howdy knows of that, he would have tried, like you were saying, Howdy wouldn't have wanted that to happen because that got rid of the Fiend. So Howdy wouldn't be all that thrilled with that part of her.
Here's a thought. What if Uncle Harper was the one she was obeying? Uncle Harper.
Yeah, I'm seeing that comment. Uncle Harper. That makes more logical sense.
Yeah. Yep.
To get the Fiend to go away.
Yeah. To put the demon back in the box.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
I tend to agree with Jodie. At first I was saying that the return of Bray that we got at Extreme Rules was a farewell. Now, though, I don't think so. I think so many people want to see the Fiend back. I think you will. I agree with Jodie, but it's going to be very, very limited. It's going to be limited, almost like Demon Balor is limited. You will only see that come out if he really, really needs it to come out. Like, you want to get a good comparison, maybe the Fiend would come out for Roman, because that would be where he, or who knows, it could be, if Uncle Howdy's worse than the Fiend, it could be Uncle Howdy that comes out for that. But yeah, I'm starting to agree with that. I kind of thought that he would put that away, but it probably not. We'll probably see it again, in some way, shape, or form.
I think we may end up finally getting the Demon versus the Fiend. Which I would love that.
Supposed to get the Demon versus Edge is the rumor now for the Rumble. Yeah.
That's the report. So
yep.
That could very well happen. Wow. Negan Mock saying maybe the Fiend only comes out when he faces people who wronged him. Remember, Alexa and the Fiend both left together. Demon King Balor returned at the Rumble. Yep, in a Hell in a Cell match. All right,
that's
so
insane.
That is going to be tremendous, absolutely tremendous. So, I guess one last question that I'll ask, and then we'll go to the final thoughts and wrap it up. And I'll start with Joe this time. Again, going back to the interaction with LA Knight. What do you think the significance is of him having the mask on him? I know we talked about it a little bit with, the 13 Ghosts theory, but do you think there's a significance, there's a purpose for him getting the mask put on? So I'll start with Joe and then we'll go to Jodie.
I think the significance of that is that Howdy certainly can't beat up himself. Howdy can't beat up Bray Wyatt. If they're literally one and the same, Howdy can't beat him up. So what does he do? He gets that mask. That's the green mask that we saw Bray come out in Extreme Rules. So that's his manifestation of Bray. He puts the green mask on Howdy, and then he takes out his anger on LA Knight. He puts the mask on him, and then he abuses him. He takes out his frustration on LA Knight because, again, split personalities can't beat themselves up. I mean, I guess they could, but physically it'd be a little difficult. But
can't hurt
that-
them without hurting
Without-
you.
Right.
Right.
So what does he have to do? He has to take it out on someone else. And I hate to keep referencing this movie, but you guys bring up 13 Ghosts. I bring up Split all the time. I just watched it again. But remember when the psychologist in that, and how she had befriended one of the personalities, right? He confided in her, and then he wrote all those emails to her. We need your help. We need your help. We need your help. She didn't see it until it was too late. She gets there, and then it's already too far gone. The beast is there, and then what happens? The beast attacks her. So even though that person may, she was trying to help him, that he still attacked her. Now obviously LA Knight is an enemy. He's not trying to help him. He's trying to make the situation worse. So Howdy then captures him, and again, like I said, he wants to take it out on something. He can't, again, if that's Bray, he can't take it out on himself. So he beats up LA Knight. And I think that's just all it is. He put that mask on him because his LA Knight's face means nothing to Howdy.
Yeah.
Nothing. LA Knight means nothing to Howdy. It's he couldn't care less about LA Knight. So yeah, that's what I think it is.
Jodie.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think, LA Knight is meaningless to him. And you can't beat yourself up without, he can't try to kill or beat up another personality of him because it would hurt him too. And, we saw a little bit of that with Split as well, that he couldn't hurt himself without hurting all of the personalities. Kind of like if you kill one, you kill them all. But I think there's two big significances there. The one that he has to take his anger out on something, and two, they kind of play the same roles. The glasses in 13 Ghosts, whoever wears it gives you the vision to see everything that Bray sees. I think that's why Bray was wearing it the first time we saw him. Because he has that vision, and now everybody that he puts it on going forward is going to have that vision, and it's going to be like a psychological warfare for them, and it's going to break them down mentally. And mental exhaustion is just the same as physical exhaustion. And I think if maybe Howdy feels like if he can break them down mentally, they won't be as physically strong, that they're easier to beat.
Yeah. Great point.
Yeah. Couple interesting thoughts here. Josh Kuhn says, thoughts on the possible lights out match. We'll go rapid fire on the.
I already said what I thought it was going to be. I think that's a very easy way for them to pull out different personalities because, again, we kind of saw something like this with, was it Wendy Chu on NXT? Very easy to do that, and you have to come up with creative ways to do things in front of a crowd now. It's not like we're in COVID times where they could do cinematic matches all the time, and they probably can't. They don't want to probably spend all that money on those. So, what's a good way to do it where you're going to have different manifestations of stuff? Have a lights out match. You can hide one of the people underneath the ring. Lights go out. That personality pops out. So Howdy comes out and confronts LA Knight outside of the ring, makes LA Knight freak out. And then he goes back into the ring, and then Bray's back inside of there. Lights go out again. And it's just, to me, an easy way for them to change things without the fans seeing it. Because otherwise, that's tough to do when you're in front of a live crowd. So that's why I think it's, everybody kind of knew that when it was mentioned that this was going to be Bray's match. And I agree. And it's a brilliant way to do it, because how else do you get that all to happen without the crowd knowing and seeing? It would look dumb. So yeah, that's how I think it's going to go.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think we're going to see different representations, different personalities within one match. And maybe it ends up being, backstage Bray. That's the last one that actually puts the nail in the coffin, so to speak.
Yep.
I'm interested to know what it's going to be like.
Yeah, for sure.
Because at first I was like, what are they going to do? Put glow in the dark paint on and wrestle in the dark? I don't know if that's going to be, it's going to be all in the dark, or if there's just going to be moments that are in the dark. So we'll see.
Right.
They could use spotlights. If they have the lights down, they could use those really bright spotlights and just spotlight people at certain times and stuff like that. So yeah, it should be interesting to see.
What if they do it this way? What if they do it and have each of the puppets show up again, like they did at Extreme Rules?
Yeah, with those really bright spotlights. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Deanna, this will be the last one that I asked. Deanna saying, what if Howdy sees LA Knight as a representation of a part of Bray?
That's an interesting thought. Representation of a part of Bray. What part of Bray?
Yeah, that's a good question, because it would have to, I mean, sarcastic, he's cocky.
He's kind of like cult leader Bray, I guess.
That's what I would think. Yeah, it would have to be. I would think if they would liken it to one of his other personalities. I would think that it would be that one. I would think that it would get the most. It would get the closest to. I would think.
Maybe they're both trying to get to LA Knight. Maybe that's what they're talking about with the door closing. The door is closing for him to pick a side. Like in-ring Bray, the nice guy that we've seen, is trying to get him to turn away from the dark side. And then Uncle Howdy is trying to get him to lean into it. And maybe that door is closing for, the amount of time that he has to make a choice. Which path is he going to go down? Maybe everybody's going to be faced with a choice. Like, are you going to choose the good side or the bad side? Are you going to choose the angel or the demon?
I gotta say, I snickered a little bit when he did that part where he said, "You're barking up the wrong tree, man." I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm like, wow, dude, if he didn't give you a warning there, that was fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, I think maybe every opponent is going to be presented with that choice. Yeah, like Deanna just said, the blue or the red, which pill do you pick?
Yep.
And that's the thing. If he fights heels, right? Like, imagine somewhere down the line, and people are talking today about it. Got mentioned about Roman in a discussion on some other place today in wrestling. But imagine if it comes to that somewhere down the road where that's, do you think for a second that Roman in his big, huge ego is gonna think that he gives a crap about any of these other personalities? He's gonna knock every single part of it. And he's going to say, I don't give a damn who you bring after me. You're not beating me, because Roman is all ego. Roman doesn't give a damn what you say to him or about him. He just thinks he's going to beat you. So the game has to be played where what personality does he bring out when he fights certain wrestlers? And I think that that's what the cool part of this is, because the people he's going to go after, being that he's a face, they could have easily made him a heel. But the people he's going to go after are going to be people that probably continue the stuff of people who wronged him before.
What if he turns Seth back to a face?
Yeah, and again, you can almost do any of that because I mean, Seth came out and said he wants to work with him again. So yeah. It's cool stuff, man. It really, really is. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I love long-term storytelling. I love this stuff. I said it on Sunday. I'm all in. Absolutely.
Rob and Bray working together now, it's gonna be magical.
Yep. Totally agree.
Real quick, I know I said I wasn't gonna ask another one, but I saw another good one here. They're all good, but this one is juicy.
I don't think any of us have to rush off. So
yep.
What if Howdy and Bray are actually working together?
I think if that were true, I don't think he'd know it. At least some personalities of his wouldn't know.
Yeah, like I could see backstage Bray knowing that.
Right. Yeah. Backstage Bray, yes, totally could see that. The one who's all apologetic and stuff like that, no. I don't think that he would want to be. And again, well, people will say, well, what, why did he turn and acknowledge Howdy then? When he was first shown, he was laughing and stuff like that. Well, that was sadistic. That could have been sadistic Bray. And sadistic Bray, he digs that, man, because that spells doom for LA Knight. So he's into that. I mean,
but then shortly after that, he looked all confused. So maybe that was in-ring Bray coming back forward and being like, what the hell is going on right now?
Yeah. And that's the thing. How fast could he cycle through these personalities? And usually in any sort of trauma or anything like that could happen to you, and he just got stomped for the last 5 minutes. Sure, it could possibly make him cycle through. And then later when he calms down, he goes back to that personality that he is when he comes to the ring, the Wyndham personality, where he's just talking to people and he's nice and he apologizes and gives people second and third chances, and he goes back to that personality again. So, yeah.
And having that background in psych, I can tell you, people with schizophrenia, multiple personality disorder, they can switch like that.
Yep.
I've seen people go through several personalities in a matter of seconds.
Yeah. Some people have countless, like 20, 30 different personalities. One will be talking to you 1 second, another the next.
Yep.
So, yeah. Yep.
Yep. And you see that with alcohol detox too. Like they can go from being just fine to completely paranoid hallucinating within seconds.
Yep.
What if it's the physical violence that triggers some of it, some of the switches?
Oh, it absolutely could.
Or anger.
Which is going to be really good to build into wrestling, because when he's in a match, he's going to get smacked around anyway.
I think it's anger, because remember backstage Bray got on that delivery guy.
Yep.
And then it almost looked like he was peeling a mask off right after that. So I wonder if it's just anger. Maybe that's part of the Wyatt Six, like the different personalities. They're all a different emotion.
Yep.
That's a good thought.
Yep.
That's a really good thought.
Yeah, what if they're just different emotions? Backstage Bray is anger. Howdy is, I don't know, wrath.
Yeah. It would be, yeah.
And ring Bray is happy.
Content or yeah.
That would be interesting. Wow. So I guess we've come to that time in the show where we're gonna give folks the opportunity to share some final thoughts. So this week we will start with Joe.
Oh man, like I said, just you're all fans of Bray, obviously, or you wouldn't be here. Keep tuning into SmackDown, because it's going to just get better and better and better, regardless of how long or how short a promotion is that happens. You're going to get more and more pieces to the puzzle and pieces to the story. And, if you start seeing all those naysayers out there saying like, oh my God, when is he going to wrestle? Good Lord, blah, 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 blah. All you got to think to yourself is how much we wanted him back and how much we clamored for him to be back so we can get back to awesome stuff like this. Not everybody's going to like it. I dig it. Not everyone likes supernatural stuff. Not everybody likes the mysticism of wrestling, and that's cool. You can like wrestling for whatever it is you want, but I know all of you in the chat tonight are into this, and I think we're in for a hell of a ride. And like Jodie mentioned, Rob Fee, they were going to do a movie together. So, I mean, imagine how much stuff you put into a movie and how much storyline stuff gets written for a film. So maybe this was part of the movie that he was thinking of doing. And this is getting played out in front of us in little, like, imagine taking a movie and having to see it on a wrestling show, part of it every single week, what would it be? A little 5-minute clip of a film. So take a big film that you may have seen, like a Marvel movie, right? Like Avengers. It's 2.5 hours long, but you're only getting little 5-minute clips every single week. So that I absolutely love it. I love long-term storylines, always have. And I think that's one of the coolest things about wrestling. There are people who don't, and they want instant gratification. I get it. But for me, I totally dig it. Totally dig it. And I can't wait for more. It makes me look forward to Friday every single week. I'm so excited now for SmackDown every single week to come because I want to see what's next.
Jody.
That's what I want to do next week. Speaking of what Captain Cage 28 said, I want to do a little bit more digging into Dante's Inferno and try to find some connections there. Obviously, he's referenced that a lot. And I know that, with the movie and stuff, like I think that Bray had talks with Jed Shepard too, who is obviously one of the producers for Host. So, I mean, there's so much that's going to happen with this storyline that we can't even comprehend yet. Even the commentators are saying things like that, like he doesn't know what entity he's messing with. Like, there's so many hints to paranormal things throughout this entire process so far. And I think it's just going to continue to evolve and get better. And yeah, I want to dig into Dante's Inferno next week. And because there's isn't it 7 layers of Dante's Inferno?
7 layers of hell. Yeah, I read Dante's Inferno many, many years ago.
Yeah.
So imagine the movie becomes a prequel. Imagine the movie is the part that they're giving us little bits and pieces of the psychologist, and imagine the movie ends up being a prequel. Be awesome.
That would be.
So I wonder if each level is a different character or other superstar that he's going to come up against. So I'm going to do I'm going to do a little bit of research on Dante's Inferno for next.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've read it. I remember a lot of it vaguely. It's not an easy read. It's very very deep, and it's very, very like symbolistic. A lot of it is very symbolistic. So yeah.
Well, and it was brought up a lot in 7 as well. It was referenced several times in that movie, and that's kind of where the killer got some of his inspiration from. And we know that Bray's taken some inspiration from that because he's posted about it. I mean, heck, Dante's Inferno is on his shirt. So
9 circles of hell it was, not 7. My apologies. That they even used some of that in Hellraiser.
Yeah.
With the different
So I think it's just going to continue to evolve and continue to blow our minds because that's what Bray's good at.
Totally agree.
Absolutely. Well, this was another fun episode. Lots to talk about, obviously. Do us a favor before you just completely go. As you're leaving, drop a like on the video, please. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Hit that post notification bell so you know when we have future content. Let me bring us back on the screen because Joe's. This is no longer Joe, by the way. This is no longer Joe.
Howdy's back.
Yeah, and go over and watch Raw with Tazzy. Tazzy has a watch along on his channel. Go watch with him. Howdy. I guess we'll see you on Friday.
Rebel in what you are.
Jody, we'll see you on Friday. And folks, have a great rest of your evening. We really appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us this evening. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.
So what do you say? You want to see my secret?